that we made here last year. And we have called it Why MedTOWN, because as Jumana and Jose said earlier, it's kind of difficult to explain our whole project. And we think with this video, we have been able to explain all we wanted to do and what we are doing with the project. So hope you enjoy it.
Asamblea de Cooperación por la Paz is a Spanish NGO that is leading the project MedTOWN, that is a Mediterranean cooperation project funded by the European Union through the NECBC Med program, and aims to promote the collaboration among the social solidarity economy entities and the public sector for the improvement of the design and the provision of social services.
MedTOWN is an experimental project that tries to come up with innovative, socially innovative, technologically innovative solutions to challenges that people face in their communities all along the Mediterranean coast.
We are hosting the second training of trainers workshop, where for the first time the local trainers from the 6 Mediterranean partners are going to be together and share their experiences.
One of the main aspects of MedTOWN has to do with education, with how to train trainers in each country on social and solidarity economy, on eco-social transition, on coproduction, and how can we learn collaboratively from each other. And then these trainers in each place adapted the Phoenix Journey, that was the name of that beautiful training, and they adapted to their own context. They developed a national training in their own language, they translated materials, etc.
The workshop to both have an alignment of the understanding of what do we mean by public policies, who are the key players, what are the steps, and then what do we mean by SSEs, what do we mean by co-production, what is the principles, what is the steps, and who needs to be involved in each step. Reconnecting them to the needs of the citizens is the key step and very important in the co-production process.
We started taking something different. That was how to think out of the box and how to think in a different way to build our own businesses, because it has many benefits for the environment and also for the society. It is about sharing more than one idea, and more than one person will work on this project.
In parallel, it is the first international exchange event among social professionals from the 6 Mediterranean partner countries, and also people that are getting benefited from the activities of the project.
MedTOWN project is a multi-layered project where we are, on the one hand, experimenting with a number of pilots and demonstrative actions that effectively attempt to demonstrate formulas of co-production between SSE agents and local governments. What it tries to do is to engage with national governments and local governments to explore solutions in alliance with civil society organizations, with social and solidarity economy actors that improve upon the existing formulas and bring greater social protection to everyone, and at the same time a stronger commitment to the sustainability of our planet.
Another important activity of the project is to promote the policy dialogue and the policy advocacy for the promotion of the social solidarity economy movement.
What we're doing in Seville is part of this chain of policy dialogues that are taking place between policymakers and decision makers in both the north and the south of the Mediterranean, the actors coming from civil society that are engaged in the project, and our team of researchers and experts, so that all of the knowledge that's being generated is shared, is discussed.
Research is a relevant part of this project, and there is a group of experts, one basically per country. Sometimes when interacting with other contexts, you may find something that is an opportunity for your situation, for your research. And also you can provide something that the others are not seeing. The idea is not only to implement an action that is innovative. The idea is that through the implementation, we need to extract some learning that help us.
Also, during their stay in Seville, we are going to visit the first pilot projects that are funded by the MedTOWN project, where we are going to meet the organizations that are implementing the pilot projects in Seville and in Huelva. And also we are going to learn more about the social innovation projects that the municipality of Seville is leading.
My visit to Seville is very important for me because I see culture and people and thoughts that are different from those in my country.
If each one of us, each person involved in this dynamic, see a personal achievement through this intervention, it will help us build on this and start the changes within our individual institutions.
By focusing at local level, by focusing on that level that is the closest to the needs, the closest to the people, sometimes you can produce a social innovation that we hope through this research can be, let's say, transformed into a learning package that can help to improve their situation.
Through improving the capacity of the grassroots organization of the civil society to develop co-production initiatives and to gain the trust of the public authorities in the design and the provision, delivery of social services.
We are meeting together to learn from each other, to see what worked, the challenges that we faced, how could we support each other, to imagine how could we continue after this process. We developed also a community of practice, an international community of practice, where we supported each other through the whole process. So I'm very, very, very happy that we are having this opportunity, this beautiful opportunity, and after this, hopefully, we will be able to continue and continue developing this project and looking for impactful activities.
Whenever there's a collective working together, whenever there's a shared vision, whenever we put people at the core of our efforts, there's a sort of warmth that invades everything, and that makes us all want to work together for a better future for our own people. The main conclusion is that more democracy, more participation is the better driver for the necessary changes that need to happen in our region to ensure the well-being of people.
I was supposed to speak in English, but I made a PowerPoint in Spanish. So if you don't mind, I may switch into Spanish. Okay, is that okay for you? So you don't have to put it. English, anyhow? Okay, then I go into English. I keep on English. Okay. Yeah. Okay, no problem. I will say my entrance. I had prepared my entrance in Spanish, so I had to say in Spanish. Yo he venido aquí a hablar de mi libro. That's very difficult to be translated. Interpreting is not going to convey the meaning of that because it refers to sort of a joke, and that is well known in Spain. Okay, the idea is to talk about what we have written, the report, and it's only going to be 5 minutes. And so I'm gonna try to summarize many conclusions into a few slides. What I'm gonna do, or what I'm trying to do, is that you get interested, and then you ask questions later, or you go and read my book, okay? This, as you have been told already, has been a very ambitious project, and as a consequence of these, and as a consequence of the worsening of the context, it's not only COVID, many other elements have impacted in the implementation of the project. We have had a highly relevant project, but with problem in efficacy, in sustainability, and to a lesser level in impact and relevance. I want to highlight one element among those that are mentioned in the report. Despite all we say about social and solidarity economy being more relevant, we have a resolution by the United Nations. We have a social economy action plan, etc., etc. If we go and look at the policy, if we go and look at the programs, if we go and look at this legislative action that is being implemented now, there is a setback. There is a setback. Jordan has not approved the initial draft of Social Enterprise Act. The implementation of the social and solidarity economy law in Tunisia is put it in very, it's not being implemented. The new law, the new proposal in Morocco, stay there, not being approved yet. There is a draft, okay, but not being approved. And if we look at the program, we have been told today, there is no mention specific to social and solidarity economy in an European program in the Mediterranean. But we have the Social Economy Action Plan. It could have been the time to have that, specifically, as a target, as a main objective. It's not there. So we are facing some problems there. Next. Nevertheless, we have shown that this is relevant and that this is viable, is feasible. Highly ambitious project with a high degree of social innovation in a context so complicated as the Mediterranean region, and we have successfully implemented our project. With all those problems, with all those minor failures, I would say, how come can we have an ambitious project with social innovation without failure? That is not possible. If you don't fail, probably it's because you were not ambitious enough, probably because you were not innovative enough. The main lesson there could be we need to better adapt to local context. And now if you want to know a little bit more about that, you go and read the book. Next. Finance. There are many issues about finance. Of course, finance is important. But finance is very nuanced. We tend to look at finance only that we need more grants. We need a program, as I was mentioning before. We need a program only for social and solidarity economy and coproduction, for example. But no, it's much more than that. We need to dedicate resources in general. Money gives you time. And sometimes what you need is time. So I don't say that we need grants, for example. We need a more continuous and specific focus on social and solidarity economy, co-production, etc., etc. So the 5 minutes are over. We are in the third there, okay? And we need to realize that finance is is nuanced also as a motivator. If you go and ask, that's a result of some of the reports, local reports, you ask the citizens and they have not been motivated by money to get into the program. You need money to set up a program, but the money that you're given is not the motivation for them to participate as co-producers of social policy. Next. There are 3 elements in research that could be interesting. One is that we need to produce more of those that I call intangible assets. It's not that we had to produce knowledge per se. We need to produce tools too. We need to produce better business models, more suitable to the context. We need to produce framework methodologies to follow up and evaluation that are adapted to our type of projects. But we need also to fill the gaps in research. The most relevant could be, from what we extracted from the reports, is efficiency. Efficiency is doing things with the, let's say, it's too simple, less money or less resources possible. Well, when we're talking of projects in which the input is not only money, the input can be relational goods. So the input could be stronger communities that trust each other more. And the output could be an improvement of such asset. Then you had a problem also in assessing efficiency. It's easier to assess when you have 5 million as an input and 10 million as an output. But we have other type of project, so we need to fill the gap in research in that. And another element of research is that we had to keep on building what we call hybrid networks. Traditionally, researchers are seen as you stay out there and you illuminate me, you enlighten me with your knowledge and with your analysis. And then you have the activists on the other side, which is on the ground, fighting, struggling to come up with, a power struggle there. No. The two can be the opposite. Me, the activist on the ground, I am a producer of knowledge. I am a producer of highly relevant knowledge, and I am a researcher. On the other side, me, researcher, I am also an activist. I can and I need to be involved in those organizations that are struggling in political action. Okay, move. We need to increase the capabilities of social and solidarity economy at local level. And I use capabilities, and this is good that I'm talking in English because there is not a good translation of capabilities into Spanish, because it's not only about capacity, it's not only that having money, it's not only having infrastructure, it's not only having training, it's not only producing whatever you produce in research. It's how you are able to mobilize such capacity to achieve a specific goal. And the goal of social and solidarity economy is to transform our society, our community, into a more livable community. Okay? That is what we need to improve our capability to achieve that goal. And we have some problem in capability in terms of advocacy. That's clear. We are having problem in capillarity. How we structure our networks from the supranational level to the sublocal level. That is the capillarity that we are missing. Okay? That's only a couple of the things. Something that I love, because something that I've been talking about that for some time, is we need also to develop what I call organizational empathy. When you go and you talk to a politician, that's my enemy. And I had to convince him to do something. Well, you convince no one if you are not able to put yourself in his or her shoes. And when I say organizational, it's not because of I had to put myself in the shoes of the politician, the person, but I had to put myself in the shoes of the organization. And me also being an organization. Social and solidarity economy needs to develop that capacity of not only understanding, but producing empathy. There is more than understanding. Next. Well, citizen participation is key. It's key to produce more efficient social services at all stages of policy. Design, implementation, and evaluation. If we have bad policy, it's also because citizens are not sufficiently engaged. Another element that is very relevant is that we need to get closer to what I call epochal movement. There are movements that are changing our world now. If we don't get closer to them, we lose meaning, but we also lose capacity and capability. And it's not talking about gender equality, or it's not talking about green or climate sustainability. It's to be close to those which are at the forefront of that fight. We need to be with those which are fighting for a better world. And we are now two types of organizations that are doing that and which are at the forefront, and we need to be with them. That increases our capability. Okay, next. Sorry for the public agents in the room, but public agents are ill-prepared to implement social innovation. That's a boat, a huge boat, and it's very difficult to change a boat. I know. But we know already enough, there is enough knowledge to facilitate, to give the public actor the tools to be able to change the route of the boat. And they're there, sandboxes, and a deeper understanding of complex issues, a holistic approach. Those are elements that are being included in the findings of the different reports. Next. We need to do better and deeper local context analysis before we engage into a social innovation project. It's not enough to know the social situation. It's not enough to know numbers. We need to assess the ecosystem. How is that ecosystem more or less capable in relation to what we are achieving? So, giving an example from someone that is very close to me, in Seville, we should have known that there are problems in capacity in terms of implementing a social currency. A problem in capacity, both in the commercial sector, in the social and solidarity economy, which are to bring that social currency, but also within the public agents, in the specific department in which we were trying to implement it. And those are much more than technological barriers. There are other type of barriers. Well, that is the kind of deeper knowledge that we had to develop. So from a certain point of view, when we say we know already and we need to go to the operational, and that is a clear reference to the program, yet and no, there is a need to an element of analysis that has to accompany the specific action, if we want to address really ambitious one. If we want to address really ambitious one, those that are sometimes deemed to fail, we need to have to produce that effort of local context analysis. there is a room to improvement in the legal framework. We have seen the setback at the beginning. The legal framework is much more than having a law. Tunisian law, for example, the same way as Mexican law. Those are excellent laws. The people that draft them, they did it right very well, but well, that's not enough. An excellent law requires much more than legal technique. Requires capability within the government to implement such law, requires capability within the ecosystem to own the law, and requires a capacity to develop the secondary legislation in line with the situation in the local context. Okay? And then move, I hope is the last one. Yeah, that was the last one. Sorry for...
Thank you very much, Samuel. I didn't have time to introduce you. Samuel was the regional expert that was responsible to develop a common framework to evaluate and monitor the different experiments and pilot projects in the 6 different countries. It was a very challenging work. Before we pass through the first panel, the second panel, maybe if you have any questions and answer, that's it. Yeah.
Hola, muchas gracias por la presentación. Voy a leer el libro. La pregunta, has mencionado en varias ocasiones la falta de los ciudadanos que se involucren y que en algunas situaciones lo que motiva a los ciudadanos no es el aspecto financiero. ¿Puedes detallar un poquito más qué es lo que les motivaba y cómo podemos motivarles más?
Okay. En español, ¿os importa? Como lo he hecho en español. Yo tengo un problema que intento abstraerlo todo mucho y entonces a veces me gusta dejarlo en ese nivel de abstracción. La implicación de los ciudadanos no significa que el que las finanzas no fuera la motivación, se refiere a que cuando un ciudadano que se ha implicado, por ejemplo, en el proyecto de Palestina de mejora de la gestión de los recursos, su objetivo no era porque había una tokenización de la implicación. Entonces tú te implicabas y podías tener una reducción de gastos en tu coste del pago del servicio. Ese no era la motivación ni al principio ni al final. Ellos siguen prefiriendo la mejora del servicio. ¿Cuál es el reward? ¿Cuál es la recompensa que tienen los ciudadanos cuando se implican en un proceso de coproducción? La recompensa es múltiple, no solo en términos de una lógica instrumental. Yo recibo un servicio mejor, que es la más fácil de encontrar cuando lo hace una pregunta en una encuesta o en una entrevista. Si haces una investigación más en profundidad, verás que también la mejora en sentido de pertenencia, de ownership. Este servicio ya no es el servicio de un basurero que viene a recoger la basura. Un basurero. Este es el servicio de gestión de recursos de mi comunidad. Ese sentimiento de pertenencia al servicio, ese sentimiento de que la política que se está ejecutando es mi política y no la política que cae sobre mí, es también algo que se verifica cuando implementamos proyectos de coproducción y le preguntamos a los ciudadanos sobre cómo se han implicado y por qué se han implicado. Eso no excluye, en el otro lado de la finanza, que el ejemplo específico de Palestina termine diciéndote, bueno, pero es que también hay un problema de que no se han dedicado recursos suficientes. ¿Por qué? Porque esto puede no ser sostenible. La sostenibilidad de esto está en que tenemos un camión y con eso ha mejorado ya el servicio. Pero la sostenibilidad del proceso de coproducción no está tan clara. ¿Requiere eso de finanzas? Sí. ¿Requiere eso de finanzas solo en términos de más finanzas? No. En términos de sostenibilidad de la finanza también. Esa finanza es cuando decía un foco político sobre la coproducción y la economía social y solidaria. Eso se puede traducir en finanzas. Es decir, yo tengo que dedicar que haya más a lo largo del tiempo ese foco político, que no termine con un proyecto, hence la solicitud de programa, y que incluso no termine con un programa, hence la solicitud de una estrategia. ¿Vale? Si a eso se le une la capacidad, entendida como capability, del ecosistema de sostener ese foco político, si yo consigo que este ecosistema en el que estoy, llámese Sevilla, llámese Túnez, la ciudad, o llámese la comunidad rural en el norte de Jordania, que no me acuerdo de cómo se llamaba, ese foco en esa solución, entonces demostraré un sistema más capaz. Y por capaz me refiero, ¿capaz de qué? Capaz de conseguir unas comunidades más, ¿cómo se llama? Friendly o livable. A veces no me salen las palabras en español. Vivible para la gente que está en esa comunidad. ¿No? Y esa es la promesa de la economía social y solidaria. La promesa de la economía social y solidaria no es una herramienta. Yo no te doy un alicate o yo no te doy una caja de herramientas. Yo te doy una manera, una forma no solo de hacer, sino de ver. Y es esa la que hace que el ecosistema sea más capaz. No solo que exista la economía social y solidaria como herramienta, no es solo que haya una cooperativa allí, ¿no?
Okay. Thank you, Samuel, for this fruitful lecture and presentation. And I think, first of all, we have to agree all that there is a variation and the differences between among the countries within the same region, and their understanding to the social and solidarity economy, which we are talking about, the understanding of the co-producing and co-production of this. This variation, it goes also to the lower layers. Within the same country, the understand of this, I would call it a harmony of understanding of how being developing your economic and of how being developing and considering the solidarity, the social involvement of the people and the organizations at the governmental level, semi-governmental level, municipal and governmental level, and even the private sector. So this harmony, I think, is the missing part so far, at least at my country, I can say, okay? At my country, this is the missing part. I want to ask, what's the procedure or the best solution? I know it's not easy because we can do a policy and we can do a tools and we can do this and this, but these are parts to make it in a cooperative manner. This is the most difficult part of the issue, which is, I would focus on two things. First, the participatory approach of the involvement of those whom are implementing these strategies and these plans and these policies. The second thing is the, you call it empathy. I agree with you, it's an empathy. Do we have the same and the common understanding within this empathy? Thank you.
1 minute? Okay, 1 minute. Well, in the book, we try to operationalize this in policy recommendations, and when I do policy recommendations, I try to make them as operational as possible. So there are pathways for how to keep going in this direction of improving this problem with understanding. It would be more than not 5 minutes, 100 minutes to analyze this, but I think we have the tools. I have said that the United Nations resolution is there in a, let's say, not so important way, but in this case it's very important because that definition is the result of research on one side, but then having to bring research into reality. I've been working a lot with legal instruments, with governments willing to implement a law. And one key problem is that law is material. It had to do something, it had to be implemented by someone, it had to address something that is evident there. Well, that makes the things go down to earth. And then when you realize that a complex issue as a social and solidarity economy approach is synthesized in law, then you realize that the problem can be solved. And I think the problem can be solved if we are aware of the power struggle that is behind there, et cetera, et cetera. But that's to give you just a few things there.
Thank you. My question, you spoke earlier about different kind of challenges to implement an ambitious project, and you spoke about analyzing the context. I agree. But I think also we should be honest about the project itself, the bureaucracy of the project. And I have seen, like at least in Tunisia, because of the challenges that we had, just like 2 years implementation versus it's like almost 5 for the other partners, that the bureaucracy of the project kind of hindered the process, and we would have had way better results if we had less bureaucracy. So although you have been saying that, yes, there is no action plan, an SSE action plan from the EU, but I don't think an action plan is enough and funding is enough. I think it's important that it's not only social innovation on the ground, but also social innovation from the funders and the institutions in a way that the instruments to support such co-production units should also be adapted to the realities and should also adapt social innovation and different ways to implement such projects. Yeah, so, and I was also wondering whether this was only Tunisia problem because of the only 2 years implementation, or was it the reality for the other projects, and what's your opinion about it?
One minute, okay. Yeah, bureaucracy in international projects is a nightmare. Even more if you are willing to engage public actors, because then you have bureaucracies collapsing one with the other. Well, but that's life, let's say. If I were here in a group of public officials, I would say a different thing. I will talk to them about how they can improve that. But the majority of the people that are here are not public authorities. So the talk is about us. We need to increase our capacity of managing complex projects. We, of course, have something to understand this. We haven't been managing this type of project before. There are not so many multinational, regional projects that are addressing social and solidarity economy in the Mediterranean. There are not that many. And I've been involved in most of them. That's incredibly difficult, yes. We are fighting against bureaucracies, yes. We're fighting against public actors which are ill-equipped to address those? Yes. But once we know that, when we are among us, we need to also be aware that we need to improve our capacity to address such challenges. We have learned that too. That's a learning from this project. And it's not something just to blame us of why we haven't done that. Because as I say, this is a capability. It's not that me, myself, I cannot, fill an Excel. It's not that. It's that I don't have the conditions to fill that Excel. Is that a problem that belongs to me that I can solve? Yes, because it's also about our organizations, about networks, about collaboration with research, about organizational empathy that I said before, about many issues that I, as an organization of social and solidarity economy, can control. Will it be enough? No. It is the problem bigger on the other side? Yes. But since we are now with very little public officials listening to us, then we address that. But when we talk with them, I say the bigger problem is on that side, not in our side. Maybe I didn't understand the question then. Yeah, of course you can. Of course. We have done social innovation. We have done. Jordan had done social innovation. Palestine did social innovation. You have done social innovation. Probably we don't. Portugal did social innovation, disruptive social innovation, by the way. So the problem is what we want. The type of social innovation that we want or the type of radical social innovation that we need? Maybe not. There are different types of social innovation. And there's minor social innovation, which are the only available in certain contexts, and they're what we call more sustainable social innovation, like, solidarity funds in Canada. That's a big disruptive social innovation that happened in the mid-80s. And that is still producing social innovation. Well, we are not, unfortunately, we are not Canada.
You can keep this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Samuel. You had a very challenging work with very passion. He just completed the report, the evaluation report from those partners that he received feedback, and very soon we are going to share these results and these reports with all the partners. I mean, this is something that he just produced.